Hi, it's me. I haven't done any like blog kind of thing in a while, so I thought that I should. I get lazy. I think most people do. Hmm. But I thought that something kind of funny happened at work today, so I thought, I'll tell people about it. So yesterday night we got this really, really, really big pumpkin. It was some family grew it and they didn't need it, so they brought it to us and they're like, "Oh, here, you have a pumpkin." And we're like, "Oh, thanks, a pumpkin." That's pretty exciting. So we had this pumpkin, so I turned it over and I looked at it. The pumpkin is probably this big. It's pretty big. And so yesterday night I turned it over and I realized it was a little bit rotten on the bottom, so I put some tape on it. So I figured, oh, if it's a little soft, we'll take care of it whenever we carve it. So it's not really that big of a deal. So I put some tape over it and went home the next day. And in the morning when I came in, my coworker, she said, "It's leaking a little bit, so we should probably fix it. It's like, a little bit soft on the bottom, so we should probably do something about that." So I turned it over and I looked, and the little like stem on the bottom was leaking. And then I realized in the area that I taped, there were small little holes. And I was like, "What? How could this like perfectly round little hole be made in this tape that I just put there? Unless there's some sort of something inside of this." And then I was really grossed out. I was like, "Ooh." So my boss just said, "Well, why don't we carve it if it's kind of rotten? It smells a little bad, so we should probably carve it right now." So she brought down some knives and stuff, and I turned the pumpkin over and I saw motion inside a little hole. I was like, "There's something in here." And I turned to look at my coworker the moment that these feelers just popped out of the hole. And I looked at her and she looked at me and we were just like, "There's something inside of this pumpkin." So my boss comes over and she's like, let me see, it's totally fine." And she like starts like sticking her face in there. She's like, "If you do that, the bug is not gonna come out." So I'm just like, "Okay, well, we can't flush it out." She's like blowing in the hole. It's like, I don't really think that's gonna get the bug out. Um, so finally I just like, "Look, I gotta cut it." So we had a knife and everything, and I got some tongs, and I was just like, we had some plastic bag to put the thing, and I start just chopping away at this. And there's this adult student who had been taking a lesson with one of the other teachers, and she just like standing there watching and like commenting, and just like, "Who are you and why are you here?" She's not one of our students. I'm just like, "Could you not watch us do this?" But I don't even know who she is. But anyway, and so I'm like sitting there and I'm like working at it, and I saw the little feelers pop out again. And I'm like, "Whoa, what is it? What is it? What is it?" And so I'm getting all grossed out. I'm imagining like this giant thing, like this long, like curled up inside of the pumpkin or something gross like that. And so I finally am able to cut it out, and this, I would say like millipede kind of thing. It looked like an earwig. It was like, it had these really long little horns, and it looked like an earwig, and it had like the little pincer things on the bottom, and that popped out, and I was like, "Ah!" And then my other coworker, she came over, and I had little tongs, so like I tried to get it with the tongs, and I dropped it into the bag, and then of course I was going, "Ah!" At this point, and my coworker just starts like smacking it with a tongue, like dong 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 dong. And she like looks in the bag. And then I had the spoon too, right? And then she grabs the spoon, dong 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 dong, and she's like smashing it. And I'm just like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh." And she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, okay, it's dead, it's dead." And I'm just like, "Ooh." And I look in the bag. Nope, it's moving. It's still alive. Whatever this is, it's really strong. It's still moving. She pounded it pretty hard, so I'm really surprised it's alive. But it was like playing dead. So, so I was like, "What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" And my other coworker, she's freaking out. And so I'm just like, I picked up the bag and I bring it into the sink, and I was like, "I'll drown it." So I put water in it, but then it's like floating and like squirming. And she was just like, "The toilet, let's flush it." So I flush it down the toilet, and then kind of we're a little like, it's down the toilet. But it was really funny afterwards, obviously. But the pumpkin, my coworker drew the face on it, and I ended up carving it because everybody's like, "Oh, I hate pumpkin. I hate carving pumpkins. I don't want to carve pumpkins." So I was like, "Okay, we'll carve pumpkins. I like carving pumpkins." So here's a picture on my beautiful iPhone of my snazzy pumpkin that my coworker drew and I carved. Here's another angle from the top. It's pretty snazzy, huh? It's a really big pumpkin. And like, it's weird too because the inside was not goopy or dark like it normally is. And there were no seeds. I was really disappointed about that because if it wasn't half rotten, I would have thought about making the seeds or doing something. I looked up a recipe for that. But no, there were no seeds. I don't really know what that was or anything. But I was complaining on my Facebook a little bit about how annoying it is to tell Japanese people kabocha, which is what they translate the word for butternut squash, is not pumpkin. It's translated that way, I guess because they're both orange on the inside, but they're not the same vegetable. And that's the problem too, because I really like butternut squash and they have a lot of different butternut squash flavors here, but I hate pumpkin. I just don't like it. I'm sorry, I'm American. I don't like pumpkin pie. I love the smell. It smells good, and every year I try it because it must be delicious if everybody else likes it. And I like the smell so much, but I don't like the taste. So I try it every single time. I really do. I try it, and I just don't like it. I'm never gonna like this food. So a lot of the Japanese foods in the fall, they have the butternut squash flavor thing. So I'm like half excited because they translate it as pumpkins. They'll be like pumpkin cake, and I'm like, oh sweet, yes, it means butternut squash cake. But there's 20% of the time where it's actually pumpkin. So I'm always kind of like, ugh. Like Mr. Donut had like donuts and they were pumpkin, and they were actually really cute. And I might actually have a picture on my phone of last year's pumpkin. So I was so excited about every single kind. And then when I sat down to eat them, they were not butternut squash flavored. They were pumpkin flavored. So I was incredibly disappointed about that. And then also I had bought 5 donuts, and I don't like pumpkin, so of course I was like trying to force them on Mika. Like, here, you want all these? They're pumpkin. They're super cute. Here's a picture. Yep. I mean, super cute, right? Don't be fooled. They're actual pumpkin. How dare you? Oh well. But yeah, so it's so difficult to explain because they're like, no, they're the same thing. No, one is green on the outside and small, and the other is orange on the outside and large. Like, first of all, from like how you see it, they're completely different. And then like I can't explain it well, and so finally I was able to. Like, my boss is just like, yeah, she's like, I tried to make pumpkin pie and it just didn't come out as well. I guess you have to buy the stuff from the can in America. And I'm just like, did you try to use kabocha? Did you try to use butternut squash to make pumpkin pie? Like, I can't even. It didn't work because it's a different vegetable. And like, I'm like, they're the same family, but they're 2 different things. I'm like, you can't do that. And so finally, I was like, it's like trying to make takoon, which is the pickled daikon, with cucumber. It's like, it just doesn't work. Turn it into something else. And she's like, oh, well, I guess it's the difference between like zucchini and cucumber. Yeah. It's 2 different things. You have to use them differently, and the insides are different, the shapes are different. So I hate that. Like, and then there's always the gamble, right? The gamble, like, is it pumpkin or is it actually butternut squash? So I'm always like, whenever I go to buy the seasonal stuff. So yeah. In other news, besides the pumpkin, it's my birthday on Friday, so that's pretty exciting. I'm doing nothing. I'm going to work. And Saturday I'm going to work as well. That's what getting older is about, right? I ate some cake last weekend, which was horribly disappointing. It's like the caramel banana. You think, oh, well, that sounds good. But like, I don't know, I guess they made the caramel themselves, so it tasted burned. Happy birthday! Burned caramel, banana, pie thing, cake thing. Oh well. I keep demanding presents from all my kids. I was like, it's my birthday on Friday. And then I start clapping. And then they all kind of just start clapping. And I'm like, present please. And they're like, ha 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 ha. I'm like, no, present please. Where's my present? And my kids are like, and then it's funny because then they like give me garbage. Like one of the kids like, here's a scrap of paper. And I was like, thank you. You shouldn't have. And I threw it away. And the other kids like handed me a textbook. And I was like, thank you. You shouldn't have. No, seriously, present. If the kids bring me a present, I'll bring them a present back. It's not like a big deal, but it's fun teasing them like that. Yeah, I mean, stuff's going well. I'm going back to America very soon. In, 21 days, so 3 weeks. So that's pretty exciting. I have a lot to do. I should probably get my life together, yo. Alright, well anyway, I'm in my pajamas. I'm gonna wash my face and do the dishes, or probably not in that order, probably the other order. Yeah, anyway, see you.